Twins by the Stewarts. I'm your host, B-Level.
I'm your girl, Netta.
And today we have a really, really special guest on the podcast today. Our city was turned upside down last week.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
And we've got the man that's responsible for the upside down turnover, Mr. Arlo Washington. Let me read your credentials now. Let me give you a proper introduction. Arlo Washington, he's the founder and president of People's Trust Community Loan, Community Development Financial Institution, or CDI. They're located at 5300 West 65th in Little Rock, Arkansas. They're next door to the Barber College, Washington Barber College, okay? So we're going to start this thing. First of all, we're going to pay some bills. Shout out to our guy Q-Note, who is our podcast producer. And shout out to Club Empire, because we're broadcasting in the Empire Studios. They let us use this facility to broadcast every week. So shout out to those two. Now, this week, Little Rock was turned upside down about some money that was supposed to be going out. And let me just give you a little history. First of all, Arlo, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome to the podcast. Jeanette and I decided to broaden our horizon. We started off doing this relationship podcast. Now we're kind of pushed into doing some other things in Arkansas, Little Rock. We're doing, our new tagline is going to be for the culture, by the culture. So we're going to talk about anything that has something to do with our culture. Mm-hmm. And so the first week that we open our podcast up to just cultural things, this on Thursday, was it Thursday afternoon? Was it Thursday when it happened, Arlo?
It was Thursday.
So Thursday, I wake up and I see a million people, and I'm saying a million. It was probably 500-600 people in a small parking lot on 65th, and people were talking about this $850 money that the People's Trust was giving away. And so it was just mass confusion. Shanette and I got up. We got to looking at it. People were saying, well, they're running out of money. They don't have no more money. But, I mean, the line was, interrupting traffic and everything. And so as the day went on, all down my Facebook feed, everybody was talking about this money that we ran out of and that people got the day before and that they didn't have anymore. Mm-hmm. So later on in the day, there was this video that surfaced by this guy, and I'm not going to name the person because I've kind of already dealt with that. And so I went live on my Facebook, and his video pissed me off. It pissed me off, Arlo, because it pissed me off because there he was talking about this business, this black started business that was helping our culture. That was helping people. Absolutely. They were giving money out, whether it was a loan or grant. They were helping people that were in financial distress. Yes. Mm-hmm. And this guy was saying, hey, how dare this business give the people this money, and they're loaning this people this money at 125% interest rate. And I normally don't. See, that's my wife, Arlo. You normally catch her going live and going off on people. I stay cool. I stay cool, Arlo. But it pissed me off so bad. I went on and I want you guys to go on my live and look at the live. And I basically said a little something like it was pissing me off because the person that was talking bad about this business that I didn't know was owned by or that was ran by you at the time. My statement didn't really have anything to do with Arlo Washington. Right. It was just saying that why would you as a black person come and downgrade a minority ran business and you don't have an alternative to the answer that he's solving? Yeah. So he's giving people money to pay their bill. He's loaning people money. He's whatever he's doing. Yeah. He's being a financial access to people. Yes. Yeah. And he's giving out money to help people. Mm-hmm. And you're saying that he's charging too much for the money that they have to pay back. But you're not saying, I got some money to give. So that was my whole deal. Fast forward, I get an inbox from you, thanking me for the video, right?
Absolutely.
Speak to what you said.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I saw the video, I felt like that, our efforts were being, it was misguided. It was the information that was out there that Rosie, what's his name? Roselle Aaron. That Roselle Aaron was talking about was not true. Yeah. We weren't, of course, I'm Arlo Washington, founder and president of People Trust Community Loan Fund, and we are a Community Development Financial Institution, or CDFI. And our primary business model is loans. So we've been making loans all year long. We've done over 800 loans this year alone, providing access to capital to low and moderate income communities who would not otherwise receive the opportunities because we don't require credit scores. But anyways, when I saw and by us being CDFI, we're able to aggregate resources from different sources. So from banks, from credit unions, from foundations, from Department of Treasury, private sector, we're able to aggregate those dollars and then relend those dollars out back out to the community, to those who wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity. And that's all we were doing. And this particular pot of money that we received was grant capital. It was unrestricted grant capital.
Okay. I got to ask you that because there was a lot of confusion about
what it was and what that meant.
What were they confused about, whether it was a loan, sweetheart?
That pretty much. I think they were confused about if it was a loan or a grant. And so I want you also to explain what a CDFI is and what that means so they'll have a better understanding. But I think the more frustrating part for me was, you say that, okay, well, he's given this loan that wasn't a loan, it was actually a grant. He's given this product and it's kind of messing with our community. So it's like you don't do the two-step thing. I think it was beneficial for the community for both. It's beneficial for the grant and it's beneficial for the loan product. But for those that don't understand, they just go by words and go by what they think they know, what they hear, misinterpret information that they've read per se. So that's why we asked you to come on to be more thorough and explain, what that is. So tell them what CDFI means.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Community Development Financial Institution. We are with a mission to provide financial products and services to communities who would not otherwise receive said opportunities, certified by the U.S. Department of Treasury CDFI Fund. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And we have been in operation since 2015.
Okay.
So having a community development financial institution located within our community provides us with a financial mechanism that most communities across the United States don't have.
Absolutely.
We are a money mechanism. We are, if you want to talk about in black communities, low and moderate income communities, where most banks have abandoned or left the community to move to more affluent areas, then those communities still need a financial institution to be able to be an intermediary to circulate resources, circulate money. Let me say it like that: circulate money in the community so that community can be sustainable and can have economic mobility to be able to fund small businesses, to be able to purchase homes, to be able to create jobs.
Right.
All of these things are necessary. And the reason why, we got to go back and talk about the history. When you think about Reconstruction, and you think about in crisis, whenever there's been a crisis in the United States, you think about Reconstruction. You think about the 2008 housing crisis, and then you think about COVID-19.
Right.
Those are all. Now, COVID-19 presents a whole another animal because it brings in a health emergency along with the economic emergency. Now, when you think about the rebuilding process, after each one of these crises, the black community, low and moderate income communities have been hit the hardest, have been hit first and worst.
That's true.
And then when you think about rebuilding those communities, it takes investment, it takes money.
It does.
But if you don't have a financial mechanism in those communities to be able to circulate the resources to get to those small businesses, to be able to fund projects, community development projects, community facilities, and things of that nature, then those communities are going to be left behind and at a standstill.
Yeah.
And there are about 1,100 CDFIs nationwide, and there are about 19 CDFIs in the state of Arkansas, and we are the only minority CDFI in the state.
Wow.
So we are the only, show in town when it comes to the minority community financial institution.
Okay, so you've talked about the resume. Now let's get down to this $850. Let's go back to Wednesday.
All right.
Wednesday, let's talk about how you got a pot of money. You had a deadline. How did we get into on Thursday 500 people showed up at your parking lot with no more money left.
Okay, so we were notified to get on a Zoom webinar with a group of other nonprofits.
Okay,
and there was some CARES Act money, that was left over that had to be deployed or given out by, and these were grant dollars that had to be given out by December 13th. Okay.
Right.
And today is December 13th.
Today is the 13th. Right.
We had to apply for that money. I mean, we had to put in an application or a grant proposal to get that money.
Okay.
In that proposal, we said that we would make direct grants to low and moderate income communities, those that are facing eviction, those that are homeless, veterans. We put that in our proposal, and you can only get up to $10,000 per proposal. So we sit there, my staff and I sit there all day putting in proposals over and over and over again so that we can raise up the amount because we knew that the need was great.
Right.
And the reason why we knew that the need was great was because we already have been doing loans. We made over 800 loans this year to folks that needed the money because they have lost their jobs, because they are now getting unemployment, because their unemployment is taking too long to hit their account.
Right.
A whole number of reasons. And so we've been making small dollar loans to folks at short term now, and that's how we knew and we have like 200 people, we had like 200 people in the pipeline that wouldn't qualify for our loans because they absolutely had no income. Yeah. They didn't have no money. Yeah. So we couldn't make them a loan. Of course, there's a difference between a grant and a loan. A grant you don't have to pay back.
Yes.
So that the person that issues the grant issues the grant is not expecting the money back.
Right.
But a loan you have to pay back.
Okay.
If you go purchase a car and you don't pay your car note, they're gonna come and repossess your car.
So this is grant money.
This is grant money. This is money that we're not looking to get back.
Have to pay back. Okay,
we're not looking to get back.
All right, so we've cleared up one thing.
Yes.
Because a lot of people were saying loan.
Right.
The money that you gave out was in increments of $850, right?
Exactly.
And it was to how many people?
120 households.
So you gave 120 households,
right?
850.
Yeah, you got to include.
What does that total up to be? How much money is that?
I mean, if you think about that was $110,000.
Gave away $110,000
in 7 hours.
And were all of these people residents of Little Rock? Were they outside of Little Rock area? Were they Conway?
We put in there specifically counties. Pulaski County was one, Saline County, which is our target market, Pulaski and Saline County. But we also put in our proposal that we would hit other counties. We wanted Jefferson counties, Faulkner counties. All those counties where the poverty rate is extremely high.
Okay.
Those were the counties that we targeted because we knew that those individuals were the most vulnerable.
Yes, absolutely.
What did they have to qualify to get this $850 on Wednesday?
Okay, so most of the time, like with our loan products, you have to have the ability to repay the loan. Right. So we don't require a credit score. Now with CDFIs, we got to talk about CDFIs. We are a non-depository financial institution. When you think about a financial institution, most financial institutions, which are banks, are depository. That means you can take your check and you can direct deposit it into their bank.
Right.
We are a non-depository financial institution. Banks use your deposits and they make loans with your deposits. They're in the loan, they're in the loan making business.
Arlo, you know that I'm married to a banker, right? So whatever you say,
well,
we fact checking.
I'm not.
We fact checking.
Hey, you know what?
Okay.
The bank is my friend. The bank is my friend.
No, I'm just saying we're fact checking while you talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The bank is definitely his friend.
Shanetta, if I say something wrong, then please correct me. Okay.
I'm not in my hand.
Okay.
Good,
okay. So the bank. You can deposit your money with the bank.
Right.
Okay. With us, we don't use your deposits to make loans. Okay. We get our funding from banks.
Okay.
Foundations, the Department of Treasury CDFI fund.
Okay.
National organizations like the Opportunity Finance Network, and other private sector people. And so organizations and so basically and we can apply by us being a nonprofit, we can get grants as well.
Okay.
And so anytime there's any grant opportunities that come up, then we automatically jump on that to be able to help our community, because we understand that the community at this time, this is a critical time in America, that we need resources. We need money in the community. People need money to pay their bills. People need money to keep their lights on. People need money to keep their gas on, their water on, pay their car notes, keep their kids, child care, things that there's a whole lot of need out there right now.
Okay.
And all those people that you saw standing out that day speaks to how great that need is.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't make an announcement. We didn't make a public announcement and say, hey, y'all, we didn't do a press release because we knew that the funds were limited. We knew that there was a small pot of money that was there, and we didn't want to get everybody all riled up to come and think they was going to get some money, and then they be disappointed, because that's the last thing we want to do.
So how did you guys decide who these 100 people who you would give this $850 to per household? How did you guys decide?
So we have an online platform where you can apply for a loan.
Okay.
And that online platform that we have on our website, it collects data. When you apply for a loan, whether you get the loan or you don't get the loan, we still have your information.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We had over 200 people in that database that we were not able to help. Okay.
Before
that.
All right.
Matter of fact, the reason why we applied for that money was so that we could help those people.
Okay.
And so we reached out to those people that deal with us.
They had already been in your database.
That already know about our organization.
They had already applied. They already had a need.
They already had a need. They already had their application in. We already had their information. So we reached out to those folks and said, hey, guess what? We got some funds now that are unrestricted, that we can help you to get back in your place, that we can help you to get your lights on, that we can help you to get you and your kids off the street.
Right.
And say that happened Wednesday.
That happened on Wednesday.
So all day Wednesday, you basically had 24 hours. Did you have a little bit more?
We had about 48 hours.
So a couple days
to deploy the resources, but my staff works from Monday to Friday.
Okay.
So really we technically had a day and a half.
Okay.
Wow.
So you had a couple days to get in contact with these people and say, hey, you applied for a loan on our website.
Right.
We denied you.
Or let me say this one thing, Brian. We do also have a ESG grant, or Emergency Solutions Grant, that we also applied for and was awarded by the Department of Human Services.
Okay.
That grant is meant to help those that have an eviction notice, that are literally homeless. That grant is specifically for those folks. Okay. But that grant is restricted. Okay. If you don't have an eviction notice, you can't get that money.
Okay.
If you ain't literally homeless, you can't get that money. Okay. So a lot of people that were needing help with their rent, that didn't have an eviction notice, they were not able to get assistance.
Okay.
So and then that process takes a little while longer, because it might take us 3 or 4 days to get that person some help, maybe even a week, if we can't get in touch with the landlord. I mean, it's a whole lot of moving parts to that.
So you reach out to those people. You were able to help 100 and something families.
120 households
at $850 a pop.
$850 a pop.
You didn't have to advertise it. So how did so many people hear about that on Thursday? If you guys didn't do any advertising, y'all didn't tell anybody to come back to call your brother, sister, cousin. How did you end up with 500 to 700 people on your parking lot when you opened on Thursday morning?
Word of mouth.
Works every time.
It was word of mouth, man. I mean, the people. It's just
Come
like
on, Arlo. So they left. They told
Brian,
700 people.
Listen, man.
I believe it. It was free money.
It was word of mouth. It was word of mouth. If you're a believer, you're a Christian, then you know the story of Jesus Christ when he opened blinded eyes and he told them, hey, he healed them. And then he said, don't tell nobody. They went out and told somebody. And then the next day he came out, it was a multitude.
What time did you get to work on Thursday morning?
My security guard got there at 6:30 that morning.
Were there people there?
There was a line wrapped around the building at 6:30. Because people had been there till 3 a.m.
He called you and said, hey,
he called me and said, hey, we got a problem.
Okay.
And I said, what you talking about? He said, man, it's people all around the building. I said, what? I got up instantly and headed over there. When I got close to the building, I couldn't get up to the building because it looked like the state fair.
What time did you get there?
I got there about 8 o'clock.
What time did y'all notify the people that there was no money to be given out. That you guys. So obviously you giving all the money away.
We had given the money away the day before.
So you got there about 8 o'clock.
I got there about 8 o'clock.
Told them, hey, no more money.
I couldn't get to the building because the traffic was so bagged up.
Why did they stay there so long?
Because they needed help. Because they needed some help. They can't go. A lot of them unemployment ain't coming through right now. A lot of them have lost their jobs. A lot of businesses have closed. There's a great need right now that anybody watching this podcast that got something to do with helping to aid people that's in need right now need to know that the need is so great. You might not hear about it. You might not see it on CNN, but there are people out here hurting. And that line and them 500 people and people out there at 3 o'clock in the morning speaks to that. So I don't want to, I'm not mad that I couldn't get to my business and open my door. I'm upset. I'm not even upset. I just wanted people to be able to get help. My heart was hurting because we ran out of those ran out of money.
Yeah.
Right.
We ran out of that money and we needed more money. We requested more money, but they didn't. I guess there were other organizations that applied as well, and then the people that CARES Act fund folks, they're the ones that there were other people in other places, so they did what they could.
Why were there so much confusion between if the people had to pay the money back between a loan and grant? Because on
that's a good question.
Media, there was so much confusion about loan. This guy that I got so upset up with, he was talking about the fine. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about if you hadn't gotten this CARES Act money, that was a grant. What's the process for people to come to your institution, apply for a loan, and what's the repayment? What do they have to pay back on this loan, on this borrowed money?
Okay. We are talking about loans, right?
We're talking about. We're not talking about the CARES Act.
We're not talking about the CARES Act. We're not talking about the grant.
By the way, we're
money.
streaming live on my Facebook, Shanetta's Facebook, and Arlo's.
Okay.
If you got some questions at the end of the deal, we might take some of your questions. So punch your questions in there. We'll try to get to them. Also, real quick, you can hear this podcast on any podcast source, and our video for this podcast lives on Brian Stewart Sr. on YouTube.
So before you go into the loan process, I really want to say a couple of things, but to really commend you for what you do, because it's not done anywhere else. And those of you that know me, you know that I manage financial institutions at large entities, and I can tell you that if you apply for a loan, we're going to give you an adverse action, a denial letter. We're not going to call you in a couple of weeks and say, hey, we got some money, come on back up here and get this money. So
I was going to ask you that, babe.
To exactly do that. So that's why I want you guys to understand, it's not a gimmick. It wasn't anything to get over. So to say, word travels fast. So what I saw when I woke up that morning, I was like, what's going on? So what I saw was there were so many people that was going live, that was interviewed, I was told to be up here at 9 o'clock, or I was told to do an application online, or I was told, and I was like, where did you get this from? Because I never saw any marketing material. I never saw anything to that. So
press release.
Said, word of mouth spread, and then also the word of mouth was it's a scam, or you have to give them this and have to show them that, and so I do want you guys to understand whether it's a grant or not. You still have to be able to, as the position that you're in, you have grant money, but you still have to prove to them this money was given to those that were supposed to get the money. So
we have grant reporting requirements.
Absolutely. So that's where the ID asking for, or
the Social Security card.
Number. That's where there comes in. And so it was I saw so many people saying, well, they just want yours. That's a scam. I'm like, wait a minute. It's not a scam.
Let me speak to this before you answer this, because this still pisses me off. I get pissed off easy nowadays, Arlo. I mean, if as a black owner, we own black businesses. I don't understand how our culture is so hard. Something's happening with your thing up there. I don't understand how our people are so hard on black owned ran businesses. If someone comes to my establishment, they have a bad experience, they get on social media, they blast me. I ain't coming back there. Drinks are too high.
Critical.
Oh,
I had to wait in line too long.
Critical.
The tickets to the concert was too high.
Critical.
But if you have a problem at Walmart and Target and some Kroger, if Kroger put the wrong groceries in the wrong sack, you get all the way to the house, notice you got Miss Jones's groceries, you ain't got my groceries, you gonna go right back to Kroger's the next day.
That's right. That's right.
But that was my frustration on Thursday morning, because I'm like, listen, now I said this to you. My wife is the live queen. She will go live on you in a minute if something don't happen the way she wants.
If it ain't right,
she going live on you. I'm normally not that person, but it pissed me off so bad that this person was being so critical.
Yeah.
It was crazy because in my mind, I said this. One time, Arlo, I got into a bad financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
I had this old Rolex watch that I had.
Yeah, and thank you for being, authentic and transparent and sharing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to say
that
thanks
was
for that.
that was a real experience.
No. It was from the heart, get to the heart, man.
That's true.
Yeah, and
I had to pawn
yeah.
my Rolex watch, and I only wanted to borrow $2,000. I needed $2,000 to do what I needed to do.
Right.
I had to pay back $1,200 on $2,000.
Well, I wonder what that APR is.
Can you imagine?
I wonder what that APR is.
But let me just tell you why I signed it, because I needed that money.
Yeah.
And so my whole issue with the video that the guy put out was, brother, you don't know how. And this was not a loan. This was a grant. This was giving money.
We gave it away.
But let's say they want a loan.
Yeah, if they want a loan.
We hadn't even talked about that, but I'm gonna get into your repayment.
Yeah.
But my problem is that you don't know what financial crutch that somebody is in.
That's right.
May need that money.
And we're in a pandemic.
Yes, it's rough.
We are in a pandemic. We're in a
They
global.
cut that unemployment, $400.
We're in a global pandemic.
Absolutely, it is rough.
Yeah.
So my whole deal is how if you gonna say something bad about somebody who's helping our community and our culture,
have a counter offer.
Yeah.
have some. Hey, people's trust is full of bullshit. But come on over here. See, he wasn't none of that.
Yeah.
He was just downgrading people's trust.
Yeah.
But you didn't have no alternative to pay somebody a light bill, or pay somebody a house note, or pay somebody gas, or go to Walmart bill.
Yeah.
So that was my whole issue. I didn't even know. I didn't never name you in my live because my live was not really about Arlo Washington.
I get that.
Yeah.
My live was that you was trying to downrate a minority-ran business and didn't have an answer for the resources that he's providing for our community. I ain't gonna
I think outside. So the thing for me is I mean, it's people that other people in the community look up to. So that's kind of what I have. You see, people don't understand how strong our voices are. We have very strong voices, especially if we're kind of affluential into our community. If you have a voice, people are going to follow and believe what you say. So that's why it's very important for you to get the information, provide the information accurately, rather than reading something, assuming and not knowing everything, because you have a following. You have a following and a voice. And so I saw a video shared. I saw other people sharing other things. I'm just like, this just came out of nowhere. So I even put on my Facebook page, there's a difference between a grant and a loan. Yeah. I'm going to go live about it tomorrow because, of course, my husband said I go live about just negative, not so much as negative things, but I also do a lot of financial literacy. Like I go live a lot explaining, just different things. And so for me, that was and not just his video. It was just a lot of that, I heard this or I heard that.
Misinformation.
And so, yes, it was just too much. So that's why I really wanted to kind of say live on air. Like, I commend you for doing what you're doing, because
thank you.
I can tell you guys, like, I've been in this banking industry since 2001. I can tell you that you will not get a financial institution to apply for a loan. They deny you for this loan, and they're calling you back to say, come back and get this money. Don't come get this money. I know you couldn't get this, but just come get this money that we have extra for you. So, so you can kind of finish up and then talk about the difference between the two grants and what the requirements are for one and the other.
Right.
You're
right.
I think your thing went. Okay.
Yeah. So the difference between the two grants, we have a emergency solutions grant, which is a grant that we applied for. And we were awarded the grant through the Department of Human Services. Okay. That grant is to aid those that are evicted, that are facing eviction, rapid rehousing. Right. If you are homeless. Okay. And then also homeless prevention. So if you are about to be homeless
before you lose your house. Yeah. Before you
lose your house.
Okay.
Before you lose your apartment, before you lose your shelter, your place of shelter, then we have homeless prevention grants. If you are homeless, you sleeping from pillow to post, you are sleeping in your car, you are walking the streets, you on bus benches. If you're homeless and you got somewhere that somebody gonna let you rent or let you get in their home, rent their apartment, then you can come to us and we have rapid rehousing. That means we can pay your security deposit, we can pay your first month's rent, we can get you in the door. Okay? And so that particular grant is restricted and has grant requirements.
Okay.
That means that we have to, as a nonprofit, we have to follow the grant requirements, or else we are out of compliance for that grant.
Right.
Okay. The CARES Act grant that we received was unrestricted.
Right.
That means that, and then in our proposal for that grant, we put in the proposal that we wanted to help this population with direct grants.
Okay.
Which meant that we could give a direct grant to a low-income individual that didn't qualify for our ESG program because they didn't have an eviction notice, but they were behind on their rent.
Okay.
And they have children.
Right.
And they or their lights were off. Well, in order for our ESG grant to pay your light bill, we have to be helping you with being homeless or you had an eviction notice.
Okay.
But a lot of people didn't have an eviction notice, but their lights was off. Right? And they got kids and it's cold.
Yeah.
Or they have elderly parents living with them and their lights are off and it's cold. You know, all of that. And those were, because we collect a story. Like, folks apply for our grant, then we ask them, hey, what's going on? What you got going on? What's happening? And the stories that we got, people saying, hey, I got me and my 3 kids, and, our stuff was thrown out on the streets.
Wow.
And me and my kids are sleeping in our car. And I know how cold it is outside right now. And these are babies.
Right.
And I know it was babies in the line that day.
Yeah.
And I know it was people in wheelchairs that day.
Yeah.
The day before, if they had the cameras out there the day before, they would have saw we had the same thing out there the day before.
Right.
Wow.
Because the need is just that great.
Right. Right.
So we're doing, my staff, myself, we went all that day before without lunch. We worked from the time we got there to
helping people
to 7 o'clock that night, writing checks, helping folks.
Yeah.
It started with 4 people. That at an hour later, it was 80 people in the front. That's the day before.
Right.
And we were able to assist all of those individuals. I heard some people saying stuff about it. Some of these people got the money and they went did stuff with the money or whatever. But we knew what those people's situation was.
Right.
We knew their situation, and we had proof of their situation.
Right.
Do you think that people like Mr. Aaron went on your website and thought that the grant money that you given was some of the loan products that you had on your website? Do you feel like that was do you feel like that or do you just feel like he was just hating?
Well, I feel like he just didn't know.
Yeah. Just
and he didn't understand. And he also didn't consider the people that did get help. He didn't consider that there were single mothers with kids sleeping in their cars that got help from our organization the day before.
Right.
And that his words that he were putting out there to bash our organization could have stopped that resource from happening.
Sure could.
Right? And then those folks go hungry with nowhere else to go.
So he only
right. So when you talk about educating people, then I think that you need to understand and know for yourself first.
Absolutely.
If you don't know, shut your mouth up.
Absolutely.
Right.
I say that all the time.
Absolutely. If you don't know, be quiet. Just be. If you ain't gonna say nothing good, don't say nothing at all.
Absolutely.
I learned that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But some people, and I learned not to meddle in other men's affairs.
Absolutely.
Speak to, you and I were talking off camera about, he was saying it's 125%. So a lot of people don't do the math.
Yeah.
So if you borrow $50, tell them that scenario.
So there was because of course, like you said, Shanetta, there are people that have followers.
Yes.
And people love to reject the truth and accept the lies. A lie tickles somebody's ears, and people hear a lie, they say, you know what, I'm gonna go with that. If I tell you something, if I tell one person something, and they tell it to 10 other folks, by the time it gets to that 11th person, it's gonna be totally twisted around.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So he got some followers that was on his deal or whatever.
And then let's say this, so we could be fair.
And they just didn't know.
I think
he do a lot of good in this city. So sometimes he was like the president of NAACP. I used to be a member of that organization.
Okay.
So sometimes you can get so good in doing, so people just believe you on everything. So that's what Shanetta was saying.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
You have a voice.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will believe you without doing their research.
Absolutely.
And so now you've put bad information out here because they've trusted your voice.
Yes. It could be a hindrance.
You have a responsibility with having followers. Listen, man, Shanetta and I have a responsibility. We're going to have this podcast and have so many of that we tell the truth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't be out here just, having an issue.
Yeah. I commend y'all
we
for that.
want to tell the truth.
Yeah.
There's a responsibility that comes with this voice.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what Netta was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But talk about that $50 loan and that.
Oh, yeah.
And that,
the APR.
The APR, yes.
So the APR, annual percentage rate, okay? And when you see APR, you can't say APR without factoring in the fees, okay? The APR, if you borrow, to break that down, if you borrow $50, and I responded to, I think he had one of the followers, I responded to, she asked the questions, like, explain that to me. The APR, okay.
Listen closely, this is good.
If you borrow $50,
right.
You come borrow, Brian, you tell me, hey, Arlo, man, I want to borrow $50.
Right.
And I say, okay, Brian, I'll loan you the $50. I, as the lender, expect to get my $50.
Right.
You got to borrow $50. I want my $50.
Right.
That $50 is the principal.
Right.
Okay. Now, you need to use the money. Now, if you need to use the money, then that, and then too, when we think about doing it if we do it, as we are a financial institution, of course, we have to have documentation, and then we also have to be sustainable. Mm-hmm. We are a nonprofit.
Absolutely.
And a nonprofit has to offer products and has to offer services that they may charge a fee for in order to be sustainable and to continue to offer the service in the community.
Yes.
Okay. Right? And so the APR, if you borrow $50, if I expect you to pay back $50 and you say, okay, I agree to that, and you pay back the $50, you just paid 100% of what you borrowed.
So let me say that. If you borrow $50 and I pay it back, you've paid it at 100%.
You just paid 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
100% of what you borrowed.
Yeah.
So he was saying, oh, they got this outrageous. I wouldn't borrow that. I think he replied to me and said, if you were a businessman and you wouldn't go get that money. And I said, well, I'm a businessman, but hell, I borrowed money at worse percentage than that. We talked about it.
Yeah.
But if you pay back the 50%, that's 100% already.
That's 100% of what you borrowed.
So really, in what he was saying, they're charging 125% interest rate. You're really only charging 25%.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not.
That's the effective rate.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't understand that.
And the effect, the APR also factors in the origination fee. So if you go to the bank and you buy a house, a mortgage loan originator has to originate your loan.
Absolutely.
Right? They're going to have, if you look at your fine print in your mortgage document, if you go to a car dealership,
right,
the financing person at the car dealership, they have his fee in your documents.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
That may be 10%.
Right.
Well, that loan origination fee is factored into your annual percentage rate. Okay?
Right.
That 21 or 25% over the 100%,
right,
is how we pay our loan originators.
How you pay your light bills.
How we pay our light bills.
Right.
How we are sustainable to be able to offer this essential service to the community.
Sweetheart, the wife has been in banking for the last 15 years, sweetie? 19. What normally do financial institution, what APR do they charge on if I come and I ask for a loan from the institution you work at? What's an average percentage that they normally charge on the money that I borrow from you guys?
There's not an average.
There's not an average.
No.
So
it depends on the product.
Okay, it depends on the product. It depends on the credit score. It depends on how fast I'm going to pay it back.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. Well, first things first is, as he said, you're paying this money back at 100% anyway because it's what I gave you. But then, as he said, there's originating fees, there's closing fees, so you just don't see that. You just don't see those things as calculated into what your interest rate is. Another part to this is that I can attest to, unless you are a CDFI, they are not lending to low, moderate, no income families.
So them people with them bad credit scores, they ain't getting no money at them financial institutions.
I've done it. I underwrite loans. I've done it. They're they're just not going to do it. It just so happened a place I worked at previously, they kind of, work with you a little bit, but so what's supposed to happen is based on this whole federal testing that we have to do, the bank's supposed to lend a certain percentage to those kind of subprime lending, if that makes sense. Even their subprime lending.
When you say subprime, man, people that have bad credit.
Not bad credit.
Less than perfect.
Less than perfect. Yes, less than perfect credit, and they still want you to have a substantial amount of income to pay for, especially if it's a collateral loan. They want a substantial amount of income. They want the collateral to be at a certain value. There are so many things that comes with that, but I can tell you that if you're just getting unemployment and it's not enough, sometimes they don't want to even lend to you with unemployment. But the subprime lending at the larger organizations or other banks, it is not what Arlo's doing there. It is more or less, you're probably going to have at least probably a 620, 610 credit score. You have to be on your jobs, job stability for 2 years or more. Have rental history 5 years back. So those are it's subprime lending criteria, per se, but not where he is.
And the People's Trust have different programs for different people. So
yeah.
You have different vehicles to put people
in. Yeah, we do.
Right?
We do because, some people need housing stability. So we have a housing stability loan. You have a mortgage and you're about to face foreclosure and you need a mortgage payment, then you would apply for our housing stability loan because that helps you with your mortgage. If you need transportation, and we know transportation is a vital asset. If you ain't got no car, you can't get to work.
Right.
So we have a transportation loan. If you are getting unemployment and you only making a little bit amount of money, but you need a little bit amount of money, you need a loan to help you to get to your next unemployment check. Right. We have an unemployment loan.
Right.
So we tried to be very thought conscious about the needs whenever we created our products. And so a loan, you think about, and people like say, I don't want no loan. But if you purchase a home, unless you got cash money,
you get a loan.
You're going to get a loan.
Right.
If you buy a vehicle, unless you got the cash money to go up there and write that check, you are going to get a loan.
Absolutely.
So a loan ain't a bad thing if you can pay it back.
Right.
If you can pay that loan back, it ain't no bad thing. I was able to get a piece of the American dream, get what I need to get, and pay incremental money because I was able to get the money up front. I got a loan. Somebody trusted me enough to give me the money to purchase this. So when we think about loans, we need to get rid of the stigma of I'm scared to get a loan.
Yeah, absolutely.
That ain't bad when you can handle it.
Yeah.
Hey, what they say is a saying, say it ain't tricking if you got it.
That's the truth.
If I got it, it ain't tricking.
And I think most people that buy, the majority of the people that get a home or a car, it's through a loan. Most people don't have enough income to go and cash a car out.
Right.
Most of them don't have enough money to cash a house out.
Exactly.
So the majority of people are getting loans anyway.
That's right. That's right. When you think about payday loans, CDFIs we are an alternative to payday lenders. When you think, let's talk about that. The payday loan requires you to pay it back when you get paid.
Yes.
That means you might, if your payday is weekly or bi-weekly,
right,
and you get a payday loan, you got to pay that back when you get paid.
Absolutely.
Now the interest rate on that when you pay it back, because of the terms, was so short, you had a week to pay it back, and you borrowed. So your interest rate, along with their fees, was 400%.
That's true.
Because it was a short period of time to pay it back.
The time frame, the terms was shorter, and the amount was small. But you needed that money.
Right.
Like you said when you talked about you needed that money to feed your family. Right? So you're going to do what you got to do.
Right.
And we'll deal with the repayment terms later.
Right.
All right. Now, that's what we also have small business loans.
Okay.
And we know that the main reason why there are not a lot of small businesses in our community is because of access to capital. So you talk about access to capital. If you are a small business owner, I can speak to this because I'm an entrepreneur, been one for 22 years. And when I tried to open my barbershop up 22 years ago, I could not get a loan from nobody.
Yeah, I'm just going to challenge that. I want people,
I couldn't get a loan from nobody. I couldn't walk in.
Nobody does startup costs. Startup business
I was a startup business.
Yeah, nobody does.
And I didn't have a 2-year tax history to show what my cash flow looked like, to show that I could afford to repay that loan.
Yeah.
Right.
So nobody wanted to take a chance on my barbershop.
That's true.
Right? And I lost my mother at at 17. And I didn't have access. You think about generational wealth, and you think about the wealth gap in America, and how I didn't have nobody I could go to and say, hey, I'm gonna start a barbershop. Give me the money to start this barbershop up. I didn't have that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had to go to school and get a loan to. And when I got the loan, I didn't know I was going to start a barbershop up when I got a school student loan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm going to get the loans. If they're going to give me a loan, I'm going to get the loan.
Right.
And I got the loan. And when I got the loan, I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? This is $1,750. I don't need to lose this money. That's all I got to my name. I need to put this money to work. I need to invest in something that make money so I can keep on getting money.
Yeah.
Because I got things I need to do. I got goals. I got dreams.
Right.
I got aspirations, things I want to do. And so I took the money and invested the money into a barbershop. And I can remember days in that barbershop when I was trying to figure out how I was going to pay the light bill. I knew when the light man was going to come by, and I knew that he was coming to cut my lights off. So I said, well, you know what, I know he ain't coming on Thursday, so if he don't come on Thursday, I got till Monday.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And I had it down to a sign. And sometimes they walked in on me. And when they did, I said, hey, man, okay, I'll take it. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Right.
But I didn't have, and it was all because I didn't have the operating capital that I needed so that I could focus on I was so concerned with paying my light bill, phone bill, water bill, gas bill, cable bill to keep my business running.
Yeah.
If I had only had an extra $10,000 to give me some working capital, then maybe I could have focused on my business more and made sure it was sustainable and made sure it was profitable.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But because I didn't have that, it was hard. So I started People Trust Up because, as we continue to grow and expand, I'm thinking, you know what? It's a lot of small business owners out there that's like I was. That got dreams, that got goals, that's gonna do the right thing with their money. Yeah. And they need an opportunity. And they don't know. The bank gonna credit score them. The bank, and I'm not bashing the banks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We need the banks.
We gotta have them.
We need them.
Right.
So, but what I'm saying is, maybe they don't understand the culture. Maybe they don't know that and I heard somebody say this, if a person with money don't consider people that don't have no money, that means they don't know what it's like to have your lights cut off. They don't know what it's like for you to have to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
They don't understand that.
Right.
So I felt like that, the folks that I deal with, they need somebody to understand what they're going through. So I said, well, if we could create a financial mechanism, if we could provide them with a loan, then that would help them not to have to go through a bunch of pain and heartache and stress to get a loan, because most loans that you get, you don't hear back from them for 30 days, 60 days. Now, they keep you in suspense, and you biting nails trying to figure out if you're going to get approved for this loan. Yeah. I'm like, well, if we can make it to where they would have access to capital, then we would be able to solve a lot of the social divide, a lot of the economic, a lot of the digital divide, a lot of the economic, barriers that small businesses are facing to be able to grow and expand their business. Yeah. Start, grow, and expand their businesses.
Right.
So I said, well, shoot, man, we're going to take our money and we're going to, so what I started doing, I said, well, I'm going to take how can I get this going? I ain't got no bank. I ain't got no, how you supposed to do this? So I said, well, I get paid. I get a paycheck. I'm going to take half my paycheck and I'm going to loan it out at $250 increments. And I started loaning money to people, right? Customers that were coming into the barber college.
Okay.
We did it. The People Trust is co-located with the barber college.
Okay.
That means it's two separate parcels of land.
Right.
It's two separate tax ID numbers.
Right.
It's two separate business licenses.
Right. And
it's legal.
Okay.
Right. So we can operate.
Right.
And so, it's co-located. I said, well, if we can give people a familiar place that they're comfortable in coming to,
right,
then this would be the ideal place to do a financial institution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and so that's where we began our operation.
Right.
This 5 years ago.
Right.
Fast forward today, and it was hard getting money from banks to understand our business model.
Right. Right.
Sure.
And so when you talk about APR, we have 5 local banks that are invested into our organization. Don't you think those banks studied and researched and analyzed our APR before they said, hey, we're going to give you $100,000 of our money
to
loan out?
Right.
Another supporter of ours is, and we're partners with the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation.
Right.
I mean, don't you think that they did their due diligence,
right,
and looked and see if we breaking some laws with lending and APRs and all that stuff, but and that's not, those, and so we want to be responsible, and we are equitable when it comes down to access to capital. For small business owners, black owned, women owned, minority, small businesses, low and moderate income communities, where the bank has moved out and moved to more affluent areas, to where you talk about like 12th Street area where you got 30,000 members in that community, but ain't no financial institution there. It's liquor stores there. It's all kind of other, and I ain't knocking the liquor store owners, it's business. But what I'm saying is, you don't have the most essential operation operating in that community to help that community to circulate their resources.
Right.
You taking the money out of the community and putting it into the affluent areas where they already have resources. I'm sorry.
So no,
no,
good.
Because I actually, when you said that, so I guess he's in office. Well, it will be in January, but Antoine Phillips was running for city director. And, he was elected for the seat for city director.
Yeah, congratulations.
And we had a kind of a Zoom meeting, and he kind of said, what he was doing was running for it. And so he was like, do you guys have any questions, any concerns? And I said, yes. So, because I've been in this industry for so long, as you said, most of the financial institutions are in these business districts, more affluent areas. I would like to see some in the area of 12th Street. And, he said, well, I totally agree. And that's what I'm working on. But if you go into the heart of, I'm not from here, so I can tell you guys, but if you go into the heart of Southwest, it's their business district. So you don't see any institutions right in the middle of not so
great areas,
I guess
65th.
Because of that reason, they want to circulate the dollars in those areas to keep them away from us. So I do know that people come in to get consumer loans at any bank I work or manage, and they're like on edge. They're on edge because they just feel like, I'm not gonna get approved. I'm just coming in to see if I can. I know I'm probably not going to be, but I just want to see if and so that's a nervousness where they already know or have this preconceived notion that I'm probably not going to be able to get approved unless I have a 720 credit score.
Right.
So that's why I said at the beginning, I still stand firm now, is that I commend you for what you're doing, because they don't have to have those doubts and worries.
Right.
What people need to do, though, is get over these phobias and get over following a mindset or following a voice of someone that does not have all the information. There's nothing wrong with contacting you, I'm sure. Contacting you and saying, hey, can you give me more information about this?
Absolutely.
What does this mean? What is that for? And for it to be for our community makes a world of difference.
Absolutely.
So I really want you guys to really think about that, and I hope that you guys have been paying attention to the content that Arlo has said, because it's a lot, and he's offering so much more to us as a community. And so instead of us kind of bashing or just being misinformed, inform yourselves. That's the problem, that we just lack the knowledge of. One thing I will say I like about him as well is that I'm pretty sure, and I do know this, of course, just kind of just talking to him, is that if you're approved, if you're not approved, it still comes along with financial education, financial literacy. So it's okay, I can't approve you at this point, but let me tell you what I can do to get you approved. Or let me tell you what I need for this to happen in 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months. It's supposed to happen in other banks and or credit unions, but they do not take the time to do that.
Can I speak to that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so a community development financial institution, part of the reason why we're a community development financial institution is the fact that we couple the loan that we give, that we provide, we couple that with a developmental service. So the developmental service is financial education. If you are a small business, the loan that we make, before we make you a small business loan, we give you some technical assistance. Okay. Maybe you need to understand your business model better before we can say, hey, here's $50,000, here's $30,000, so that we can make sure that you are sustainable and that you have the ability to repay the loan and to continue to grow and expand your business, because you're going to need a large loan as you grow.
Absolutely.
Right? And the thing is, when you talk about the credit score and people not trusting the financial system or financial institutions, that's why we named it People Trust, because you can trust. People trust. Trust is a must. If I don't trust you, I ain't going to do no business with you. And that's why I didn't want the brother Roselle. I didn't want him to put things out there, and you already have vulnerable populations that already are untrustworthy of each other, especially. The last thing you need to do is get people to not trust the essential
absolutely.
financial institution that is located in their community.
Yes.
Right.
Now, if you turn us away from, if we turn away, if people don't trust our organization, when again we've done 800 loans this year, we've built credit scores this year. It take credit to get credit. If you can't access credit, if there's no financial institution in your community, then you can't access credit.
That's true.
Right? Or and if you don't know, I have so many people come and say, hey, well, how can I build my credit?
Yeah.
I can't get no, you can get a credit because we report to the credit bureaus.
Right.
Our organization reports to the credit bureaus.
Okay.
So we report that your good repayment performance to the
Credit
bureaus
history. Right.
to let them know, hey, you are credit worthy.
Yeah,
You can trust this person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that is one of the values that we bring. Let me just say this. We had to go through a process to be able to report credit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't just let you report
That's
credit.
true.
They vet your organization
Right.
from front to back, top to bottom, in and out.
In order to be worthy to report,
It takes
to
about,
affect somebody's
in
credit.
order for an organization to be able to report credit, it takes about 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just
It
time.
takes an application process.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time. They have to do site visits and all of these things before they say, okay, you can report credit.
Right.
So for us to be able to report, and we're the only minority organization within the community that is reporting credit.
Wow.
Good.
So that means you come to,
Wow.
go ahead.
No, I just want you to take about 2 minutes
Yeah.
to talk about your new location.
Okay.
You got some wonderful things going on.
Yes.
Mhm.
Talk about how they can reach you. Talk about how they can, if somebody need a loan.
Yeah.
It's the holidays.
Absolutely.
People need money.
Yeah.
How do they get in contact with you guys?
Okay, they can contact us through our website. We have an online application, and that was part of the confusion with
Yes,
with the loans and the grants, because our primary operation is loans,
Right.
and we occasionally get unrestricted grants. I don't want people to look at us just as a loan company, because oftentimes we do get unrestricted grant capital, and we'll make moving forward, we'll make an announcement about that. But we'll get unrestricted grant capital that we can make loans, but we use a lending platform so that folks that don't have a vehicle but you need a loan, and we make it to where, and of course with the digital age that we're in right now and everybody having a cell phone, if you have a cell phone and you have a job, then you can get a loan from us. If you get rejected on a loan if you apply for a loan and you get rejected, if you put in there that you ain't got no job, then you don't show the ability to repay the loan.
Right.
So we can't make your loan. Your application will get rejected. So we look at the ability to repay the loan. We do not use the credit score. We look at the ability to repay the loan. We look at how long you've been on your job, how long you've been at your residence, how long have you had your banking account,
How stable you are.
how stable you are
before
we make the loan, because we have to be prudent. We have to be lender. People that invest in our organization, they don't want us to lose the money.
Oh no.
Absolutely.
So we
Nobody
can't
wants
lose
to
money.
write off.
If
No.
we lose the money, they're not going to continue to invest,
true.
because nobody wants to throw away money.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? And so our new location is in Rose City.
Okay.
It's 4103 East Broadway, and it's in North Little Rock, Arkansas, across from Dunn Weaponry and right across from Shotgun Dan's. And we did purchase a Bank of America facility. It was old. It's been closed about 3 years.
Right.
But we got that particular facility because we are a financial service provider, and we wanted to have the appearance of a financial institution, because that's what we are. Now, we don't take deposits, but you can get an account with us. You can get a loan from us, and we have safe deposit boxes where you can get your safe deposit box. Some people like to see their money,
Right,
and you can see your money. You get a safe deposit box with us. We offer that service. We offer check cash, and we offer bill paying and essential financial services that most people go to the bank for. Most people go to the bank to cash their checks. They go to the bank to get their direct deposits, and we'll offer those services. We just won't take the deposits.
Well, man, I applaud you. We're wrapping this thing up. I applaud you.
Thank you for having us.
You sold $110,000 in this economy on last Wednesday.
In a day, in less than 2 days.
Less
7
than
hours.
Yeah.
7
Yeah.
hours.
Wow.
Less than a day. And you continue to be a financial resource for our culture. Our podcast is for the culture, by our culture. Anything that our culture needs, we're going to be speaking on it. We're no longer a relationship podcast, even though we will talk about relationship. We will talk about for the culture, by the culture. I wanted to bring you on because I felt like there was misinformation put out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That money that we gave away, I say we, I'm Arlo's brother, last week was a grant.
Yes.
You don't have to pay that money back me and Arlo gave y'all last Wednesday. Now, if y'all need a loan, Arlo and I loan money.
So let me ask: do you still have funds for the other grant that you had? This for
we do. We have funds for the Emergency Solutions Grant or ESG grant, and you can apply on our website. That requires more information.
Okay.
It requires more. It involves the landlord where you're going to rent.
Okay.
If you have a place where you're going, you have to have an eviction notice.
Okay.
If you don't have an eviction notice, then you won't be eligible for that particular grant. And our loan capital is is consumer loans, so personal loans. Okay. You need $300, you need $500, you need $1,000. If you have a job and you can pay it back, then we have those funds available as well. Okay. But that other grant we are out of that $850 dollar.
Will you get any more of that? You don't know.
We are reaching out to we're reaching out to other sources to try and get more of those funds to be able to give the
How will you promote if you do get it?
We'll do a press release.
Good.
Okay, good.
Thank you for joining us on a Sunday.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Man, you are doing great deeds in the community.
Absolutely.
We want to highlight that. Thank you for being a resource for our community, man, for our culture.
Thank
It's
you.
well needed. It's Christmas time. People need money.
Yes.
I appreciate you, man.
We're just like you said, just a
Yep,
pandemic.
I appreciate you.
Outside of Christmas, pandemic.
Yeah.
So anyway, the video for this podcast will live on Brian Stewart Sr. Are we going to keep this up? Are we gonna the live feed?
Yeah, I want to keep the live feed up.
All right, so
they can share
the boss has said you can share this feed. This is great information. We're not gonna take it down.
Yes.
The audio is not as great, but we will get a more polished audio once our producer Q gets back in. But we're gonna leave this up so that you could share this. Please share this information. Y'all did a hell of a job sharing the wrong information. Okay?
Yes.
I think it went viral. It went viral.
Yeah.
If you are concerned about our culture, please share that. We had the man himself. You ain't got to hear no lies. We had him here.
Yes.
Please share this information. You shared the wrong information. By all means, you should share the right information.
Amen.
Okay, please share.
What's your web address? You want to share your web address?
Oh yeah, the web address is www.peopletrustloans.org.
And your phone number down there.
501-404-4857.
Okay.
There you have it. It's a wrap.
All right.
We will see you next week by Love Wins by the Stewart.
Thank you for tuning in.
See ya.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Peace out.
Yeah, that was really good information. That was good.